The only thing that really stands out before we got here was Evil Knievel's son was staying here full time,
Oh,
and they ended up having to kick him out, kick him to the curb, tell him he had to go.
hey everyone, I'm here with Chris Spencer. You might know Chris Spencer from the many, many submissions that he's helped us with on RV's Gone Wild for, I have to look back on how long it's been going on now, but nearly every episode has at least some of the things that Chris Spencer has submitted. And the reason that he has access to so many cool RVs is this is the guy who runs the KOA at Sam's Town in Las Vegas. This is a famous RV park, especially with us and the RVers in general, because you're trying to figure out where to stay in Vegas. There's only a couple of casino RV parks that are really reputable, and one is not so reputable, but this one is where we always ended up settling. So before I ever met Chris and before I ever started this channel, my wife has stayed at this KOA, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times. It's where we would always stay in Vegas. And so when I found out that Chris was the manager and he was submitting, I was just delighted. We chatted a few times on the side with emails. He's been sending me cool stuff, and I thought, let's hear from him. Let's find out what is it like to run a Las Vegas RV park attached to a casino right there on the Boulder Strip, right in the heart of it all. That's a different experience than your average little campground. Let's find out from him what it's like. And so I want to introduce you to Chris Spencer from the KOA at Vegas, Sam's Town. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, Joe. Glad to be here. Nice to meet you finally. I watch enough of your videos. I feel like I know you already, of course, but
Appreciate
it's
that.
nice to get to chat with you.
And it's really nice to have someone who's such a healthy contributor for the channel. I mean, RV's Gone Wild is cool, not just because of all the energy I put into it, but all of the user submissions and the people contributing. And the episode just came out, number 46. That's literally as we record this, it's coming out. So when you're done, Chris can go watch that video. But yeah, it's really because of the contributors. And again, if anybody gets a gold star for contributions here, up there with Corvink and a few other folks that have really just gone over the top helping me out. It's Chris here. He deserves a credit at the end of the roll here when I close those episodes out. So thanks a lot, Chris. You ended up running an RV park that's basically attached or at a Las Vegas casino. That's not usually the normal campground gig. So what makes this park kind of like different than your average KOA campground or your campground out in the countryside?
There's a few things. There's a few rules here in town that make people. It catches them by surprise. We're not allowed to have tenting
Yep.
in this RV park because of various Las Vegas rules, and we're also not allowed to have any open fires. So I rent and sell propane fire pits for people to enjoy here while they stay with us,
Mhm.
because we're not allowed to have the wood fires because the embers could go out and set the desert on fire. So we are an RV only space with just shy of 200 spaces in this park. And then I have another park that's long term on the other side of the casino where guests come to stay for a job or to look for a house or, just live and work. A lot of people sold their houses when the market went up so high and are living out of an RV for a while, waiting for the market to go back down to buy their next home.
We actually lived in an RV for 3 years, one of our RVs, and every 6 months we go look at apartments and go, why do we want to move out of the RV into a place that's almost just as small, but we have neighbors walls and we had a double wide space at that one, so like it was like, why would we ever? So yeah, I can understand why a lot of people sort of get lured in, and I've done a bunch of episodes about how the different reasons people live in their RVs, right? And so that's interesting. I didn't know you guys had the long-term lot over there. And of course, I imagine a lot of the people there are there not necessarily to recreate at their space, but to go enjoy Vegas. So I imagine you get a lot of people coming and going there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I get most of our guests come here to see a show or come for an event that's in town, come for SEMA, that kind of thing. And so we don't see very many of them around the park because they're out doing their thing, the reason they came here. And then they find out we're close enough to some places like Red Rock and things like that. So they go out and spend a day or two, extend with us longer. My average stay, because of what we're doing here, it's another odd thing for this park only, is my average stay is 3.5 days, between 3 and 4 days. Um, some people, for events like National Final Rodeo and stuff, they'll come in and stay for the week to
Mhm.
run back and forth and enjoy that. But they're still, again, they're not here much. They come and see our store at check-in, and use our laundry room to keep things cleaned up in the middle. And for the most part, they're not here to sit outside and camp. I mean, we don't have the normal amenities that most people do. On the average, I only see less than 10 children because it's Vegas. People don't bring kids to Vegas. Um, in the summertime, that number goes up a lot because we get a lot of visitors from foreign countries that come over while the kids are out of school.
Mhm.
And so the numbers are higher, but they're still here to see Vegas. They're not here to play. We get to utilize the casinos amenities next door. So they have movie theaters, bowling, food, gambling, of course, that kind of thing. And so we get to utilize that as part of our stuff, so that, like, we don't even have a play set here for kids to swing on. That we don't have a lot of the normal stuff that most KOAs do. We're pretty unique in that way.
We found ourselves often going over to the casino, in the evening after activities or in the morning, for coffee, things like that. So yeah, having it there, it does make it feel a little resort like, even though you're on the other side of the parking lot, basically from that casino. It's still
Correct.
it's really nice to have that access to there. Now, on the flip side, do you ever find people wandering over to the RV park, or sort of the casino folks trying to figure out? I mean, people who don't RV don't get RVing. Do you find folks coming over wondering what's this about?
I mostly get their guests come over to use our laundry facilities because they don't have that in their building. And then they'll get over here and go, "Oh, an RV park? You mean I could have brought my RV? Maybe I'll do that next time." And I have even gotten quite a few people that have been coming to the National Final Rodeo for many years that switch over and bring their RV instead, because it's a different world hauling all your stuff in and out of the hotel instead of living with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. If you're traveling for like work purposes, then yeah, having it all in the RV. I mean, just bringing in a couple of suitcases into a hotel room is enough of a hassle, right? And unloading your truck or your trailer or your vehicle on a road trip to move into a hotel room. My wife and I don't even stay at hotel rooms anymore. We stopped booking that into our long road trips because we found that the downside of stopping, checking in, moving into the hotel room, back into the RV wasn't worth it unless it was a really nice hotel. And then it was.
Right.
You know how every RV comes with a terrible mattress? Ours was no exception. Thin, floppy, and basically useless. So for this trip, we finally upgraded to a Tokta Utopia, a custom RV mattress made just for our weird Murphy bed dimensions. We gave them the measurements, picked our firmness, and they shipped it ahead of us to a UPS access point on our route. That's right, we picked it up mid-trip right in Hinton, Alberta, unboxed it in the trailer, and bam, it's amazing. Comfortable, folds perfectly, and somehow it opened up even more storage in our Murphy bed than we had before. A huge thanks to Tokta for making this possible. Honestly, this is the first time we've ever slept well in the RV. Like you said, it's a little different with Vegas rules. What is sort of the biggest challenge that you have running an RV park in the heart of Vegas like this?
Unfortunately, I'm going to say the amount of homeless people that we have to run off every day. It's
Ah,
uh
that's great. Yeah, that's the
it's a
reality.
thing. They wander around. We're a big city. It's busy. The noise, people that love to camp for the weekend, say out in the countryside somewhere, are astonished by the amount of noise. That there's a fire station right down the street, the helicopters that fly up and down Boulder Highway to keep an eye on things. You know,
Yeah.
just way noisier than a lot of people think it should be.
Yeah, you're certainly in the heart of it there. I mean, for my wife and I, we're always okay with noise. We prefer, of course, being out in the nowhere, but we're city folks sometimes. But the advantage though as well is where that is the heart of if you're an RVer, right? You've got like this Walmart, big super center right across the way. You sort of have everything right there within that block or two. So yes, that means there's a lot of people there. There's a lot of noise, a lot of activity. You're on the Boulder Strip. That's what they call it. And there's a lot of driving activity. So I mean, it's a high activity zone. There's a lot of things going on, and you're going to see, yeah, the homeless people are a problem, but literally the homeless people are a problem everywhere in Vegas. And one thing I did appreciate when we were there was constantly that little yellow blinking light of the security driving around, keeping an eye on things. So inside that inner sanctum of the Sam's Town KOA zone, you feel like you're in any old RV park, away from the crowds and away from the chaos. And I definitely had that feeling, and that's why we've returned time after time. Is it always feels like a sanctuary in all that crazy chaos. You can only escape the sound so much, but you can definitely get yourself inside the cocoon, the inner safety zone of that nice RV park. So. You see folks that are kind of a different kind of RVer than are going to the national parks. But on the other side, you've shown me all the outdoorsy people that are clearly making Vegas a stop in their Southwest off-road adventure. So you do see sort of different kinds of RVers coming to this park than just your average park. Would you agree with that?
Correct. Yes, of course, Jeeps are the most towed vehicle in the United States right now, but not all of them are running, 38 or 40-inch tires, but I do get those through here, and I get people coming in for SEMA and, into the automotive industries. Other really weird thing or strange thing about this park is most RV parks are busy Friday and Saturday night, sometimes Sunday and Monday if it's a holiday, and then they take the week to clean up. And I always tell everybody every day is a Tuesday for me. The only time I really get busy is when something's happening here in town, and it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. I don't get particularly busy on the weekends like most parks do. I get busy for the event, whatever it is, because for New Year's, we get an average of 400,000 people in town for New Year's. And we get busier. We get busy starting in September with the snowbirds coming down, and then NFR and Formula One now is going to be here for, I think, 9 more years. And so it stays busy through New Year's. And then I basically get February off with almost nothing to do. And then March is the busiest month of the year because everything that has a finale happens here because of the weather and the buildings we have downtown and the places they can hold that stuff. Well, everybody calls it March Madness because of basketball, but it really it is madness around here in March because they usually do it here because of the wonderful weather.
Mm-hmm.
We're still in the 70s every day with sun shining.
Yep.
So they make it a vacation.
Yeah, I usually go in April, often for an NAB conference, right? And it makes total sense that you'd have your the lumpiness, we would call it in business, of your schedule is very different than the average ebb and flow of a weekender kind of RV park. And that certainly I felt that when I was there as well. And you you accommodate some bigger rigs there, correct? So that's going to bring in some of that convention crowd. What's your biggest rig spot that you can accommodate?
The largest I have is a 70-foot
Oh.
pull through site. I have 110 pull through sites altogether. A few of them are 40-foot long, so they'll accommodate the smaller ones or the people that don't want to disconnect, or
Mhm.
the people that are afraid to back up, because there's a lot of them out there. I get to teach a lot of people how to do that.
I imagine so. Imagine so. After all these years, you've been doing it now. I think I looked on LinkedIn. What, 8, 9 years? You've been there for a while. So what keeps it fun? I mean, what makes it such a blast for you?
The reason I got involved in this is because even though we do relatively the same stuff, we check people in, we help them park their vehicle, we help them connect their TV and stuff. It never happens the same way twice in any given day. It totally matters their level of expertise on their RV, and we get people that have been out there like I have for a long time and understand everything and don't need any help. And we get people that just flew into town and rented an RV and didn't bother to watch the video that showed them how to work it. So they come here and ask us instead. So that it just keeps you guessing all the time.
But I walk past the rental folks, assuming they speak English. We get a lot of folks from Europe who barely can speak English, and but if they, if they understand me, I'll say like, "Is everything working for you?" And I'd say about 1 out of 5 times I get like, "Oh, actually, do you know how this works, or do you know, or why this is leaking?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, I hear," and I'm happy to help out. And they're always very grateful because they don't know what they're doing. Yeah, and those first trips you make a lot of mistakes, right? So, um,
Just yesterday, I had a young lady come in the office and asked me if I could come in her RV and turn her AC off. And I said, well, we're really not supposed to do that.
sure, sure.
All of my staff is always told two people if you have to go inside, that way there's no he said, she said,
Of course. Yeah.
things happen. But if anybody can help, I can. Since I happen to be the boss, I kind of get special dispensation. I
Yeah.
said, but explain to me why you can't turn off your AC if you wouldn't mind. And she said, it's a religious thing. On Saturday, I'm not allowed to touch
Ah,
electronics and I'm
gotcha.
freezing to death. Can you help me out? I said, yes, ma'am, I can. And thank you for explaining that to me because I didn't, I'm like, it's just a switch, turn it off. But
No
on
electronics. No
yesterday was
electronics.
their religious day and they're not allowed.
Characters or particularly memorable guests over these years kind of stand out to you? Any funny moments?
The only thing that really stands out before we got here was Evil Knievel's son was staying here full time,
Oh,
and they ended up having to kick him out, kick him to the curb, tell him he had to go. He a little too much alcohol involvement, and which I'm
uh,
sure was pain medication for him. You know what I mean? For the life they lead, him and his dad both have broken almost every bone in their body multiple times, and so I'm sure it's hard for them to get up and get going in the morning. And
yeah,
they
yeah.
just they just finally had enough and had to ask him to go. I had one really odd bus that came in. You're only allowed 5 people. I think it's 5 people per RV or 6 people per RV. The fire department says you can't get more than that out of it if it catches on fire. So you have to, there's a limit, right?
Sure. Yeah, I get it.
And one of those buses that had the coffin style
Oh
sleeping
yeah,
beds
those
set up.
German. What are the names? I've included those in my videos before. Yeah, like they're not toter. What are those? Yeah, the German style ones. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
30 people in a
Yeah.
individual vehicle.
So
Uh,
they came in and rented enough sites to
to
six or
legally.
7 sites to have all those people. And um,
Uh,
I said, I'm sorry, I didn't end up letting them stay. I said, I just can't, in all good conscience, tell you that you'll be able to get 30 people out of an RV if something happens to it. And
that's a good point. Yeah, I never thought about
they,
that with those
even though they
setups.
rented the right amount of sites and everything to cover it, it I still didn't end up letting them stay. I asked him to go somewhere else.
Oh wow, that's probably that was a big revenue hit too. After sending away 7 sites, but
Right?
yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, I'm sure they found something outside of town, right? If you keep going towards Pahrump, eventually you'll find some place that'll say fine.
Yep.
By
Yep.
the time you get to Pahrump, they'll say fine. Again, all these years here as an RVer and as a RV manager in Vegas, you got some tips here for the folks, maybe an insider tip who are looking to make the most of either staying at your park or just in general when they come to Vegas.
Be sure and leave your awning in if you're not going to be at your RV because it only takes 10 seconds for a sudden 20-mile-an-hour gust of wind to put your awning on top of your RV. And, then you're spending the time to get it replaced, make an insurance claim and all that. The breeze is 3 to 5, maybe 7 miles an hour all the time, which thankfully in the summer you couldn't live without it, right?
Yeah.
But the sudden gusts that happen for no reason, just a blast of wind comes up over the nearest mountain range and moves everything from your site to the site next door. So we try and tell people when they're coming, if we can see them coming or if we get warning about it. But we always recommend that to put your stuff away and put your awnings in and things like that before you go enjoy the town.
Yeah.
Uber or Lyft seems to be the best way to get around nowadays. It's less time. The buses run every half an hour, so you can take a bus anywhere you want to take it here, and relatively cheap. But they stop basically every block and see if anybody wants to get on and off, and so it takes you 3 times as long to get where you're going.
And if you're a group, it's gonna cost you about the same. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot these days for Uber unless you're in a peak moment.
Right? Yeah.
Well, listen, of course, going into this, I would have already endorsed, going to Sam's Town, but even more now, if you're going to Vegas, swing by the KOA, say hi to Chris. You'll see him, I'm sure, there, and it's on even his working days, even maybe on a few of his off days like today. It's not too far to get to downtown using an Uber. Also, I forgot if we mentioned this, but when you're at his spot too, you're really close to jetting out towards Hoover Dam and all of the stuff that's available to you. Vegas is the Strip, and that's cool and all, but so much of Vegas is available to you in the outer areas and things to go see. And so when you're what's one of the things we like about being in the Boulder Strip is we're not trapped in the Vegas Strip zone. And if we want to pop over to, go check out the Hoover Dam area and check out some of the sites out there in Lake Mead, you can do it real quick from that location, just as easily to get downtown or over to the sort of south of the airport area. So you can get down to Henderson as well, where like we find ourselves often going if we want to go to a mall or a Whole Foods or things like that. So it's just really in the sweet spot I always found for getting around Vegas. And so I strongly recommend it. And again, they've got that big old pool, and they got the washing machines of a lot of them. I remember it was not a small setup. So it's a great place to kind of, especially if you're doing your Southwest tour, everyone's going to stop by Vegas, and this is the place to do it. Tents aren't allowed, but rooftop camp, is there a wiggle room for that? Rooftop campers?
Correct. Yep. As long as they don't throw a tent on the ground and go put stakes in the ground, that's, we get a lot of pop-up campers. We get a lot of motorcycles with a pop-up type tent. We get a lot of rooftop tents. I've had a few rooftop Teslas, their pickup, their Cybertruck.
Sure. So that's the idea. It has to be part of the structure of the vehicle, basically, one way or another. And as long as that's there, you can go there and call ahead if you're. But I bet you they'll figure it out for you. Oh, one last thing. You guys have pet areas now, right? Is that correct? Little pet. Like pet sites.
Behind me back there is one of they call them paw pens, is what KOA branded the name.
But so the idea here though is it's a dedicated area at your site for your dog to be off leash within a fenced area, right? So it's sort of a private dog park on your site. That was again a big part of us going to any park, is that we had a place to exercise the dogs. But I have a feeling when we come back there next time, we might be looking for one of those paw pens. So I'll let them know at the desk when I make the reservation.
There you go.
Great. Well, hey, I appreciate your time here on this Sunday, Chris. Again, when we're done with this, go check out RV's Gone Wild, number 46. A bunch of your stuff is in there as usual. And again, if you're into the KOA in town, make sure you say hi to Chris and tell him you saw him here on the channel. I just appreciate your time, buddy. We've been talking about doing this for a while, so thanks for your patience.
Awesome. You bet. Thank you. Yep, I appreciate your time also.
Yeah, no problem. And I want to give a special thanks to my Joe's Road Tripper Patreon supporters, my founding members Cindy C. and Corey C., as well as the newest members, Retired Trucker 2021, Paul S. and Gary S. Click the QR code below if you want to join up with Patreon. You can join for free or join the Road Trippers Club. Thanks, everyone.